Iman Blak, me na brown, me na white. Nah see Babylon stripe, you mad?
Guiding I eternally. Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar. From a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here. It's live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black men apartheid, black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free.
I just you me to do into because, me always even watch someone that tell life is and stuff and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
One machikum bakhna, Africa da fa bakhna, kidafanya, kidafarafet, one machiki bunjul, kidafa bunjul, one yandeke sawai, kidafa bunjul, one machiki bunjul, kidafa bunjul, dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingama, getting dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingara, dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingara, did you know, that's a richer Africa, did you know? That's a richer Africa, did you know? Said the whole world love it, did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that what you got. Be proud.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Goes away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. That's good for the past by instead. Humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little ones. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother,
METAMORPHOSIS. Live from Stylzfm.
Shall not enter. These are all along. We walk on a tree monster, sipping from the cup of peace. Chant down a Babylon, chant down Babylon, chant down a Babylon, chant down Babylon.
Eli, 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 Rastafari, METAMORPHOSIS, Dr. Iman Blak, your host. The month of May, we're still in the Child's Month, and we're still celebrating Mother. I was still paying homage to Father, and we are respecting family. Sounds theoretical when we consider what's happening at the practical level of our existence. Great distraction, fairy tales coming to television, and they call it reality TV. And so the black population becomes fixated on a wedding that brings people to speak of things that they know not of what they're speaking about. Having people celebrating without knowing the foundation of their present existence. Forgetting the history of the monarch, forgetting the history of African people. Obviously, we are suffering from a deep amnesia. That is my conclusion. That as a group of people, we are suffering collectively from amnesia. Look it up. Collective amnesia. And much of that is grounded in the collective trauma that I and other people have experienced. The collective trauma. And this trauma has been over 2,000 years. Brutality. Children being born in trauma. Not born in sin and shaped by iniquity, but born in trauma and shaped by oppression. And this trauma is certainly present in the minds of today's black population, particularly those in the Western world and those who are under the influence of Abraham. I will call out Abraham now as the founder of these three major religions in the Western world, which capture the imagination of the black people. So METAMORPHOSIS has to do some exploration into memory and see if I can jog the memory of the collective and hopefully inspire the individual to awaken themselves. Because this time that we're living in is a time when the colonial forces are projecting further domination for the next 50 to 100 years. They are looking ahead and realizing that there's a tide called race that's becoming very, very prevalent, a consciousness of race and an awakening of the black mind. And they are preparing to stay ahead of the game. They have policies called appeasement. They have policies called tokenism. They have all sorts of isms in place. That when I and I appear to make one step forward, they have already gone 3 steps ahead. So I'm going to go slowly and speak a little bit about this event that occurred in England, and the fact that this event has pointed out one of the foundations of our oppression, Buckingham. And if you follow in the program for the last couple of weeks, I have been zeroing in the concept of the Trinity. Trinity simply means 3 forces, 3 things that work as one. And I pointed out the most natural Trinity in existence is the Trinity that exists in the atom, with the proton, the neutron, and the electron. But there's a trinity of forces that I would call the evil trinity. And these forces have been around for a number of years, decades, hundreds of years, and they've been working in cahoots with each other. And one of them is Buckingham Palace. The other is the Vatican City. And then there is Washington. And just look around the globe and look what these 3 forces have been doing collectively. Look at their agenda. And it is the British that has been leading the way along with the Vatican. And the Americans joined up later on. The Americans were never accused of invading Africa. But the Americans, white Americans, colonized the black people in America. So the colonization of the black population globally is being orchestrated and directed by these 3 forces. And there are more, of course. But just sticking to the concept of the 3 in 1 and 1 in 3, these 3 forces. And so they have caused a lot of people to lose them consciousness and celebrating victories when they are really defeats. We're hearing about half white and half black, and celebration of black mixing with white. And if half white and half black come together, what is this? And all of these arguments are distractions from reality. Because race is driven by genetic powers. And all we have to know is that the African genes are the dominant genes. Genes is not a 50%, 50%. Not because the male and the female come together, it means that one is 50% of the other. It's all about genetics. And so no matter how much time the European try to mingle with the African blood, the genetics of the African become dominant. So the child constantly looks like the African. And that is what the science of genetics is about. So we want to discuss genetics a little bit. And what are genetic memories? So this little thing that happened in Buckingham is a big thing. Because these forces are consolidating and projecting and trying to see way ahead that they can also remain in the position of dominance. So I say we have a deep problem with memory, deep problem with our own history. And I have a Facebook page, Metamorphosis. You can come on, METAMORPHOSIS. And there's a discussion on the page right now. Because I put a point out that our history is confusing, because black people think that their history really is grounded in the Bible called King James Version. And so a lot of even our great historians and academics, ultimately, when you talk about history, they end up speaking about Bible history. And they try to describe the history of the world through the Bible. That is a problem for African people, because African history is not in the Bible to the full extent that we need to explore it. What I mean by it's not in the Bible, They gave us characters to start the world story. Adam and Eve. And they tell us that these two people had 3 sons. 3 sons. Cain, Abel, and Seth. So African mothers, black mothers, where the item come from? Where did our black mothers come from? If we try to claim the story of Adam and Eve as our beginning, they had 3 sons. So who is the foundation mother of the black people? So we're going to examine that story again a little bit closer, and we're going to search for Africa in a place where we're not supposed to look. We're going to search for Africa between the fall of Adam in the book and the floods of Noah. In those years, I want anybody who have these types of information and insights or directions to tell I, where can I find the history of Africa within that Bible story of Adam's fall out of grace and the ultimate destruction by Jehovah of his world? Where is Africa in that period? Where is African history? Because they are telling you that the world is 6,000 years old. How many people accept that? Because that was part of the issue on the Facebook discussion. There are people who are biblically trained and they have abandoned science and research and technology. And they're claiming that the earth is 6,000 years old. 6,000. Where is African history within that period? So amnesia, I'm telling the item, amnesia is part of our problems. And amnesia is so deep that we can celebrate the enemy and think that is a victory. Metamorphosis.
He's a lucky thing I never get, Swahili. He's a lucky thing I never get, Swahili. And started to run, I will never run away. And started to run, I will never run away. Do you hear? Never run away. Never run away. They and them that state high, they would have feel so nice. They and them that fight against high, you should see them rejoice until I to run. I will never run away. Run, I will never run away. Do you hear? Never run away. Never run away. I will never run away. That's why I will never got to run. I will never run away. run around, I will never run away. Do you hear? Oh, I never run away. Oh, I never run, never run, never run away. I will never.
Yes, we're there.
Could never, will never.
So the first thing I really want, I want to also tell the island that before the program done, you know, I want to spend a little bit of time examining the greatest influences that reach I and I through religious teachings. Who are the characters of religious history that control our thinking? And I'm suggesting to the island that when we read queer King James version of scripture, we are presented with two characters that represent law. Yes, law. So you look at this now, enslaved Africans being brutalized and sodomized. And then when we take us out of the fields, they take us to a building on Sunday. And on Sunday now we are drilled with words. And these words are supposed to be the words of God. And these words of God are supposed to be not only comforting, but these words of God are supposed to give us hope and promise. And the hope is that we can escape slavery. That is a hope. Because people who are enslaved have no other hope except the hope to escape. So the words of God presented to us in this book, it has been held onto by our generations for dear life. We have been beaten to accept these words. Violence has been committed against I and I as a people to accept these words of God. So if these words are so precious and wonderful, why do those words have to be forced into I and I brain? Why didn't we steal those words? Because Malcolm tells us when things are good, people steal them. Naturally. So when you have to ram something down a person's throat, like democracy and religion, we have to stop and check, you know, what are these words of God that we have been given? And we have been told that these words were given to men by God. Yes, special men. And then these men now are told to tell the people what God said. Now, we have to be very careful as a people now, you know, because we are growing and we are maturing. And this God that they tell us that has these words in a book, is it that this God only communicates with certain type of people? That he has no communication with, like Chinaman? We don't hear no Chinese speaking about what God tell him. I know angels don't visit the Chinese. The Chinese have their own funeral burial site in Jamaica. Them don't even bury amongst Christians. To show you how them deal with the thing seriously. Them not in it at all. So they don't need the words of God. The Indians have their own words, their own scripture. But black people now, Africans, who have been colonized and exposed to racism, we have been given now a book. And this book is supposed to have the words of God in it. These words that tell us now were written on some scrolls. And the Europeans say they found these scrolls in the Dead Sea. And they're going to begin to translate these scrolls. So the scrolls are supposed to have the words of God, you know. And I'll show you where the thing coming from. And what is connected to our amnesia. Where we can recall, that we can use our memory to experience a better life in the present. So, the words of God put into a book. And the person who's responsible now for getting these translations out of the scrolls is a queer. Is a homosexual. So you say it doesn't matter. Well, the words of God are going to be authorized now by a queer. The words of God. And God say it all right, because God don't question queers. And black people suck it up. These words now are translated from scripts that are hieroglyphics. And because James knew all the languages of Europe, basically, James collected some of the learned men of Europe, and they translated now these things into English, Spanish, and French, and various Romance languages. So if you were on a plantation controlled by the French, your scripture would be in French. Those who are in the English side get English. So I know, stuck with these English words of God. We're going to examine these words, and we're going to examine the two main givers of these words. One is Moses, and the other is the Jesus.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by?
Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality.
You can win in the game of life.
Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m.
Great news, everyone. DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supplies located at 44 William Street, Port Antonio. Now open every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Stop in and beat the Monday crowd. Get the same great service on a more convenient day. Doing some work on a Sunday, run out of material? No need to worry. DIB Hardware will be there to serve you. Still the #1 supplier in Portland of building materials, hardware supplies, kitchen and bathroom finishes. DIB Hardware Port Antonio. Now open this and every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 44 William Street, Port Antonio. See you there.
Remember Stylzfm on social media. View us on YouTube, Stylzfm Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Stylzfm. Like us on Twitter at Stylzfm961. Become a fan on Facebook. Stylzfm 96.1.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Stylzfm be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Stylzfm for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
See a beer, let Jah be praised. The goose and the ghost, let Jah be praised. The Daniel Lamb, let Jah be praised. Let him be praised. Let him be praised. You better let him be praised. He watereth the hills from his chambers, and the earth is satisfied, so satisfied. He maketh the grass to grow for animals. Jah made the herb for man. He made the herb for man. Jah made the herb for man. Fret not thyself cause of evildoers. Neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like grass, and they shall wither like now scatter, shatter, batter, and flatter. As the smoke is driven away, Jah, drive them away. As the wax melted, let them be melted, Jah Jah. Exhibir, let Jah be praised. Daniel, let Jah be praised. Nigusa Nagas, let Jah be praised. You better let him be praised. Let him be praised. You better let him be praised. I said let him be praised. Oh, lightning.
Yeah, Rastaman calling upon the natural elements, earthquake, lightning and thunder. We're calling upon the Jah because we had a problem identifying with the God that we were told to obey and believe in. So the brutality and oppression forced I and I as African people to reconsider the name that we had to call upon. Because if the slave owner calling upon God to protect him, how can the slave call upon God to protect him too? God has to make a decision. And it has been very obvious whose side God is on. That God has taken the side of the oppressor and the side of the slave owner. Because look how long I and I crying out. Look what brutality and abomination I and I go through in the bottom of slave ships and on the plantations. And the sodomization and the raping that I and I have to endure and still enduring. So when the Rastaman started to talk about Jah, we realized that the word God was no longer useful. Because the same sound that the white man was calling upon. So everything goes forward now to our own powers of thought and our own imagination. And who directs our thinking? Is everything will be directed by the book? Because that seems to be the plot. That everybody who's in this Western plantation society must organize and arrange their thinking around the words of God. And when you query the writers now of these words, we hear that these are men who had inspiration. Obviously, the God of the Bible don't inspire women. Because women are considered to be second-class citizens in that same book. So sexism is a characteristic now of the God of the Bible. And once there is sexism, there is racism. Because that same God of the Bible now speaks of chosen people. His own special people. And how do we separate the special from the non-special? How do we separate it? Is it internally or is it something that we can observe? So, I move from that to speak about this marriage now that we just witnessed. On the television, live and direct, millions of dollars spent. All of the women, them, majority of them swooning, wishing that it was them to have this nice white man as them husband. Yes, and a lot of people think that they would make it. And you have a lot of black men who would visualize themselves having a white wife and that would what we call make it. You see the it part of the making? We have to examine what is the it. Because we have to look at symbols, you know. Symbols are potent. Symbols are important forces. And so we see the royal family, as them call themselves, looking into the future. The Queen realized this is the same 92-year-old old woman now who run Jamaica. So we are just colonists. We are jump up and down. We are just a colony of Britain. Same way. Political colony of Britain and an economic colony of the United States. And so we have this woman here now who, at 92, her mother had her hands in the slave market. And so these people now who can't dead, it look like, because them live to be 92. And we have conscious fighters and soldiers going down by the time them reach 40 and 36 and 45. And our soldiers not even getting to 50. Malcolm, Kwame Ture, Frantz Fanon, you name the whole army of black liberation soldiers. Them hardly ever reach 60. Here we have this old woman now at 92. And we don't hear no campaign to get her out because she's old. Because she's white. You see it now. She's a Caucasian. And with that now goes a certain amount of privilege and respect. Mugabe was 92, in the too old. Time to get rid of him. But we can embrace Her Majesty. And she can set up our son, or whoever it is, to be now the new head of her Commonwealth. So these people are always looking ahead to maintain control of the world, while black people are told to look ahead to try to get into heaven. And because heaven is a limited space, it creates that crab vibration where black people now fighting against black people over who is more spiritually righteous. Subconsciously knowing that all of you can't hold in heaven, so you have to fight out who you can fight out. It's all psychology. And so what is happening in Buckingham is just a preparation. Remember now, Obama was considered to be a black man in the White House. And we see the backlash when him come out. So you can imagine what will happen to this wife, where people are trying to claim some part of blackness to her. And the British are concerned that the offspring may look dark. So we have to watch the globe and how these institutions prepare themselves for the future. These lily white people realize that lily white will not survive because of the growing racial mixture that's taking place in the world. Them just have to go 2 steps ahead to make sure so them can say, well, yes, one of them is with us. And we are so silly that we think that one of them represents us all. It's an illusion. It's a family that are the foundation of slavery. We're not told to celebrate the dignity and the royal family of the ancient Egyptians. We don't respect the monarchy of the Pharaoh. We are told that the Pharaoh is the devil. And so we don't respect monarchies that are of African orientation. But we're bowing down to the British. And we're still singing, God Save the Queen. And we're still singing, God Bless America. And it's the same God that has been holding hard in on the whole African race. That same God allowed the Europeans to go into Africa and change up the names of the countries and take what they want and continue to manipulate the world and its resources. So, to find our way out of it, most people will want to hold on to the concept of a God. What we can examine are those who are said to be his messengers. those who are set to carry the word. And we can examine those words now, because these are words of men who are part of a colonizing force. These men have a political ideology behind the things that they say. And so the two greatest political leaders of the European Western world, true religion, is Moses and Jesus. And subconsciously, most African people bow to the laws of Moses and accept the stories of a man going on a mountain and bush talking to him, burning bush. We hold that as reality. We believe that a man went on a mountain and got laws that were written by Hammurabi long before Moses born. Laws that were written in the Babylonian epics. So I said to them, we're going to examine Moses. We're going to examine the myths of Moses. The Red Sea crossing. How many Africans spiritually left Egypt through that Moses journey? How many black people vicariously joined Moses and opposed the Pharaoh? We have to go to the source of our own story. So we're going to check the lawgivers. We're going to check African people and our history. Where were we before this mythical flood of Noah? Where were the pyramids? Where were the Indians? We have to find ourselves in relationship, not just to white people now. We have to find ourselves in relation to the other great races of Indians and Chinese. How do we locate them in the book that is considered to be the words of God? Because if they're not there, and apparently we can't find them in the book, then apparently that God is not the God of the Chinese. And that God is not the God of the Indians. How did that God become the God of Africans? Metamorphosis.
Think you where you come from. As long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind your nationality, you have got the identity of an African. Cause if you come from Clarendon, and if you come from Portland, and if you come from Westmoreland, you're an African. So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind your nationality, you have got the identity of an African. Cause if you come from Trinidad, and if you come from Nassau, and if you come from Cuba, you're an African. So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind your complexion, there is no rejection, you're an African. Cause if your flexion high, if your flexion low, and if your flexion in between, you're an African. So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind denomination, that is only segregation, you're an African. Cause if you go to the Catholic, and if you go to the Methodist, and if you go to the Church of God, you're an African. So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African.
discussing here now, first of all, before we look into those lawgivers, we establish our own existence first as a people. And as a people, we have an existence long before any of those characters that we read about in the Bible. Before the birth of Moses, before Abraham, before any character in the Bible, I and I have an identity. And that identity comes from, number one, the land mass on which I and I as a people live. The land mass. And for example, the people of China, the land mass is called China. And the people on that land are called Chinese. So they have a foundation identity to themselves. The same thing applies to the people who are Indians. The land that they live on, the continent, is called India. The people of that continent are Indians. Their identity is connected to the land. It's the same thing for the people of Europe. They are Europeans because the land in which they are domiciled is called Europe. Well, there is a massive continent called Africa. And the people who are domiciled and indigenous to that piece of land are Africans by nature, Africans by identity. Now we're having a problem in today's world because we have Africans who have been displaced for thousands of years, forcefully, and have cropped up in all sorts of metropolises and towns and cities and valleys all around the earth. And there has been a campaign to discredit and to diminish the identity of the African. So the very book that they gave us to read as a world history book on the words of God, how many places can you find the word Africa in that book? I want to tell you, where in that book that speaks about the words of God, there's nothing in the words of God that Africa could have come out. If somebody knows where Africa is in any one of those books, let me know. The closest that book speaks to call that word Africa is in the very Genesis. That first book that they say was written, well, not the first book, that the book about the beginning that they say was written by Moses. Moses, of course, grew up in Egypt. And there is a reference to Egypt in the Genesis. And if there's any more reference to Egypt and Africa, somebody tell me. So that word couldn't even come out of God's mouth. God couldn't say Africa. Or the writers didn't get that message. So them catch up Ethiopia in the very beginning. And they have a story about the Garden of Eden being near Ethiopia. So that's as close as they will bring black people into the creation story. And then later on you hear about princes shall come out of Egypt. So the only place on the continent that is Africa, that is mentioned, is Egypt. They don't mention Southern Africa. They don't mention the Congo. They don't mention Azania. They don't mention Abyssinia. So it's a conscious effort to erase Africa and its people and its history out of even the Bible. And this Bible now is going to represent the world history to black people. Our academics who are historians, they are caught up beyond their studies and they can't explain history that is in the Bible. So even our best thinkers, quote unquote, historians, they are lost when you begin to talk to them about time before the Christian era. And once you begin to talk about time before the Christian era, you are led into Moses and the books that he reputedly wrote. It's a psychological trap that leads you into thinking that the world, history of the world is written in the King James version of reality. So because of a mythical beginning, the mind implies that everything else in the book is about the world. Because it gives you a story of a beginning. So you automatically think that whatever follows that is a natural progression of world history. Well, I want to tell you them, it's the biggest scam. It's the biggest jam in the thinking of black people, because here it is. Moses, and it's him now we're going to bring under the microscope. Who is Moses? What does he represent? How many black people in their subconscious mind have Moses as a hero? How many people in their unconscious thinking celebrate Moses as a deliverer? Because these are deep questions that touch the psyche. And a lot of the answers to these questions have been programmed into us from before we reach age 5. Before we're 5 years old, we have the answers to all of these questions through Sunday school and through home teachings. So we get the book. The good book, them call it now. This is a book of war and death and destruction. And it is a good book. And we've abandoned our ancient Egyptian writings, the book of coming forth by day and night, which is the Egyptian book of life. The Europeans call it the book of the dead. So we are turned away from our literature and our scripture, and we are conned into accepting the words of God. And if you really know the ancient history of Egypt, the writings of Thoth, Thoth, the god Thoth, those were the writings that were called the writings of the gods. So deep in our subconscious memory, our collective unconscious memory, we have resonating in our brains the idea of the writings of the gods. But this writings that we are now reading is from a God created through philosophy and psychology of the Hebrews. I want to examine what are these laws that have been established, why we can come to our own consciousness, why we still celebrating the enemy, and why we still condemning our own self. So, in a way, Africa, not really in the Bible. So African people don't have Africa to hold on to as them history. So they're holding on now to the history of the Hebrews. And the Hebrews are a strange group of people because they came into Africa as refugees. A small group of them. And when they left in the thousands. And they left with all of the philosophy and the ideology and the psychology of ancient Egypt. And much of that is partly in us. But what is difficult to understand now is the way in which the Europeans have used the concept of the writings of the God to have us believe rather than know what we should know. So African people now, where in the Bible do you find the mother of Africa? Can the mother of Africa be found in the Bible? And if you accept Adam and Eve as a starting point, are you saying that Eve is the mother of Africa? Then who is the mother of the white people? Where is the mother of the Chinese race? Where is the mother of the Indian? So we're going to have issues now trying to give this first woman in the Bible her racial identity. We're not supposed to try to do that because these are supposed to be two what you call human beings, but human beings have racial characteristics. What is it about Eve that I and I could ascribe to her that she would represent the African mothers. Because there are no African mothers in that story. The beginning shows you that those two starting forces produced 3 sons. So me ask a very serious question to the black woman in the world now. Can you tell me that Eve is a foundation of your existence? A female that came out of the rib of a man? What was the nature of that man? What was the racial characteristics and makeup now of that first man? When we begin to question those things now, we find issues now with the words of God. Because the words of God come up short. We can't find ourselves. And it goes deeper than that. Because after these people are expelled out of this garden, they go on to multiply and live in the thousands and thousands, and then they are wiped out by a flood. Where is Africa? Where are the women and the children and the men of Africa before the wipeout of this flood? Where is Africa? So, our history as a people, our thousands and thousands of years of history has been wiped out. This is a part of our amnesia. We can't remember ourselves because we have internalized this Bible history as reality. And that reality speaks to 6,000 years. Can you imagine that? We have pyramids that are more than 6,000 years. We have Mayans that are here for 10,000 years. And yet Africans are forced to lock their history into 6,000 years. Is madness. It's the foundation of insanity.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Stylzfm be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Stylzfm for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Wow Factor Tuesdays is sponsored by Wholesale Photo Lab Studio and DocuCenter and Bobby's Cafe Bar and Grill.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak, kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Telling us about the identities that we have lost. They are very serious loss, you know. When you lose your identity and you know not who you are, you become a pawn for anybody who know themselves. You become a robot, you become a slave. And our identity issues have been profound from the time of our capture. And the Europeans have made sure that they attack identity and family. Because these are some of the foundations now to our whole society, you know. At the individual level, it's you, the individual. And at the collective level, smallest unit that holds our society together is a family. So the identity issue now is very important because we see even based upon this wedding that we recognize today, people don't know who them is. Call themselves half white and half black, and if two half come together, if it's a quarter, that's a damn foolishness. Them think it's a mathematics thing. It's about genetics. And what we need to understand now is that within genetics there's a thing called genes. And genes are either dominant or they are recessive. It's very straightforward. And dominant genes are dominant, and recessive genes are recessive. And the European gene is a recessive gene. And the dominant gene is the African. Now that is science, that is not religion, and that's not based on a belief. These are scientific facts, reality. So this half business is mostly black people claiming the half thing, you know. White man is not so quick to tell you about him half black, you know. Him knowing that, you know. Him knowing that at all, unless it's going to benefit him and going to become a Bob Marley. So he can claim this other side. But generally speaking, it's the black people, it's the Negroes them always claiming the white part. Always them telling you how much percentage of them is European. And that comes from a lack of worth. A lack of self-esteem, a lack of value to self, and an imposition on white people of being a sense of being superior, even if they don't insist and demand it. We put it on them. So this inferiority complex that has developed has made a lot of us try to distance ourselves from being African. And the most silly way of describing that is when people say, well, they're never born there. It's the highest level of stupidity that. It's a high level of stupidity when a person tells them is not that because they're never born there. It's hiding from the reality. They don't want to claim what is their birthright because they're shame. And black people have always been made to be ashamed of their own blackness. They've been made to feel ashamed of Africa. And that is all media. And the media is controlled by the same European white forces. So we have to find and fight our way around those barriers to come to our real identity. It's like you are a Superman and you don't know. Yeah, man, it's like you can fly and you have X-ray powers and you have all these powers and you don't know. And people are bully you up. Some little guys are bully you up and you don't even know, so you have this strength. If you ever blow upon them, drop. Because you don't understand the power of your own identity. And look at Superman as a character, you know. When him put on them Clark Kent clothes, him look like I'm dark and them glasses. They're like a wimp, you know, like a nerd journalist. And when him come to him full identity and him take off them Mickey Mouse clothes and show the S on him chest and stop bullets and all kind of thing, you see the real power. Well, I and I not far from that. And is just as powerful as Superman, but we don't know. We don't know because we have lost our identity. And the foundation to identity is culture and history. So if you don't understand your history, you can't claim your identity. And so that is what the Bible does now. It confuses black people's history. Confuse them. To the point wherein very few people of pigmentation claiming the identity of Africa. Rastafari has kept the fire blazing in this Western plantation to keep Africa at the forefront. Robert Nesta Marley, Rastafari music, was all about Africa, liberation, Ethiopia as a centerpiece. So the African identity, you can't escape it. You can't hide, you know. You can hide. But you see the European, I'm going to tell you who you are when you go Mount Sim. Yeah, we have people of black pigmentation telling you how much white people are the best friends and how they love them and they can overpower them with their love. All of these things are just ways of trying to deny your own black self. So the African now, who controls and knows himself to be an African, he knows deeper than that because at a national level, African is a national identity. It's based upon the land. But the people of that land have an identity that is even deeper than the nation or the continent. And that identity goes into the biology and the physiology of the people. And at that physiological level, the people unite on their melanin. They unite on their blackness. And this unity at the level of blackness has nothing to do with fear and doubt. And has nothing to do with color. It's based upon the natural progression of our people for hundreds of thousands of years. People who have been divinely protected from the radiation of the sun. People who bring culture and philosophy and psychology to the planet Earth tens of thousands of years ago. But we can't get into those tens of thousands of years because of this Bible story about Noah and flood. So we are disconnected from our story by the stories that they give us to study and to memorize and to believe. So world history, the history of the earth science, is what I and I need to return to. Study the history of the earth. Get to know the ages of the earth. And locate African people now within those ages. The Bible doesn't speak of an ice age, but the earth has experienced several ice ages. And within those ice ages, Africa has remained a warm place. So we have to revise how we think about our own story so we can really get through the mist that we can claim the identity of the African. The Europeans are going into Africa and having children. And we see the experience of them in South Africa. The Boers and the Dutch and all these Caucasian people go there and breed up the place. And after a couple of generations, them start call themselves Africans. Yeah. After a couple of generations, them white same way because guess what happened? Them can't black. No matter how long them stay there and mingle amongst themselves, them can't black. Because black is not a sunshine creation. Black is a creation of the endocrine system, of the glands in the African body that the European don't have. So we're claiming our heritage now. We have to go beyond culture, because culture can be pirated. But you say heritage now, heritage takes you into your genetics. And this is where now we separate ourselves from all other groups. And that's how we identify with our black self. The book that we have been reading for 2,000 years doesn't go into our black self. When it speaks about black as an evil source. The very beginning of the book tells you that God talked about separating light from darkness, and the light was good. And if the light is good and the darkness obviously is not good. And so the racism is implied in the early story. These are stories written by the queer King James and his men. And there's a political agenda. It's about power, it's about control. Control of the mind of African people. That we are afraid now to say black. Yeah, we're afraid to say we're black. Because at the subconscious mind, people black, so is sin. Anytime sin turn white. Yeah man, when evil start look white. When we start recognize that this thing must be reversed in our thoughts. That we can embrace our own black self and hug it up and be glad and know ourselves as black people. It's a long journey, because they have taken thousands of years to have us thinking in reverse. Most of our thinking is backwards. And it's going to take a serious effort to stop that cycle and to transform the energy positively. The first stage is becoming conscious of your own racial identity. And all this mix-up talk about part Irish and part German and part this. You are a dominant African in your genes. And you have been mixed with the blood of the rapist. If you claim it, then you're denying yourself and you're claiming the identity of the rapist. Decide. when the Africans were building the pyramids in the Sudan and building the monuments in Zimbabwe of stone, the system that they used to build those things was not a system that was based on beliefs. It's not belief build the pyramids. It's not belief build the great walls of Zimbabwe. Nothing like that. The belief don't count in that. It's knowledge. Scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge helped the Egyptians to control the flow of the River Nile. Technical knowledge. No beliefs. You can't build a pyramid with belief. And in today's world, you can travel from one country to another in a plane based upon belief. You can't believe the plane will reach. You better know that the plane has been prepared. And we also know that within that there can be mishaps. So belief is not what drove the ancient world of Africa to high levels of technology and making calendars and science and medicine. It's knowledge. But it is since the capture I and bring her into this Western world and locked up into the words of God and that book, we have abandoned knowledge. Yes, we have abandoned knowledge now for a belief. And everything now you ask a man, him tell you say that him believe. And you ask him what him know, him tell him don't know. And the funny thing about beliefs is that it says exactly what it means. It means it does not know. It means that there is a doubt. Once you do not know, it means you're unsure. A subtle difference between knowledge and belief. And we get knocked off of our knowledge base. And we've been operating along systems of belief. And these belief systems now have been created by the Europeans. So knowledge is power. They talk about belief, kill and cure, but they don't tell you about the power. There's no power in it. And you ask yourself about your own name. Do you believe what your name or you know your name? Check yourself. Cass, do you believe in your name, Cass, or you know that? You know. So why you don't believe that? You know what I say now? So anything you know, you know. And know is obviously more powerful than believe. But people believe a lot of things where they might try to prove to you, you know, so for them belief is right. And so this is the problem we have now with the people who are caught up in the world of religion and the words of God. They are about to prove now that their belief is correct and they have the right belief. That attempt is futile because belief is belief. And you still don't know. So you are a sophisticated ignoramus, shrouded by belief. And African people now in our original state of creativity, we're never driven by belief. We're scientists, chemists, physicists. When we mummified the pharaohs with that high level of chemistry, there's no belief system in place. The belief system has to do with the ideological movements of the non-living parts. We're gone into no philosophy. But science and practicality is what governs the earth. So when we read now into these words of God, we don't have any scientific foundation. There's no basis for knowledge now. We're gone into a whole belief system. And it's like our children believe things that they are told by their parents and have to grow up to learn that it don't go so. Because I used to believe that the cow jumped over the moon. I used to believe that because that's what I read. But as I got knowledge, I come to know that that belief is a farce. That is not grounded in knowledge, it's a talk. And so it is when you believe things. You believe that the cow jumped over the moon. You believe that a man parted the Red Sea. And you believe that a man went on the mountain and spoke to the God of the Bible. All of these things are beliefs. Where is the knowledge to verify these beliefs? There is no knowledge. There is no knowledge. So we have to examine now not just the belief, but the reasoning that holds the belief together. Some people think so you can question belief, you know. But you don't really question the belief. You question the logics that hold up the belief to say the belief upon any basis at all. And once you begin to inquire into the logic behind beliefs, you have to talk about philosophy. And when we hear about philosophy, I was thinking something that's only people of Europe, people of what you call high minds, can engage in. When I and I is natural philosophers, because we're connected to the earth and we think naturally how to find solutions through our know-how, through our intuitions, to arrive at substantial information. Now I'll go through all this to say to you know, that first book that they give us, called the Book of Genesis, is the biggest stone in the link of chains that surround the brain of the African. Because it does not only try to explain to the African how the world began, it tells him how the world end too, and start again, in one book. And all is not being written by one man. One man. This man lived 1200 and something BC. And this man writes about the beginning of the world. He writes about the destruction of the world. He writes about the restarting of the world. He writes about the freeing of these Israelis. He writes about a Red Sea crossing. All kind of things. This one brother say, them say him do. One man ruling the world of ideology, imposed upon African people as some great leader. He has led Israelis out of Egypt. And apparently a lot of Africans have followed him out and have left Africa behind. So we're going to examine even closer the conflict and the clash between Moses and Pharaoh, and how that has us how that is still resonating in our consciousness today. Why we still are afraid to call ourselves Africans. Why we're so glad to call ourselves Jews and Hebrews and Israelis. We're calling ourselves all of these things, tribes of Israel. Yet we're not saying that we're Akan. We're not saying we're Mandingo. We're not claiming Africa. And you wonder why the Europeans can hold a wedding and so many black people gravitate towards it. We're still bowing down. We're still bowing down to images that are white.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know that program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Hey, Papa, may I talk to you? You may I talk to. Me nah this year, but every year you make Fan Fusion miss you. It's only $500 for your pre-sold ticket. Wait, Cheapness Radio, listen to me. Take this information quickly, cause we're on the radio. Ticket outlets for Fan Fusion are White Cliffs Pharmacy, West Street, Port Antonio, Taj Pharmacy, Love Lane, Port Antonio, Labe Sports Bar, right in Porty Square, and Universal Electrical and Plumbing Supplies, One Wharf Road, Morant Bay, St. Thomas, entrance to Presser Plaza. Hi, keep listening, Stylzfm. We got some more outlets coming up. And for more information, call 518-2399.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Stylzfm Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Stylzfm. Like us on Twitter at Stylzfm961. Become a fan on Facebook, Stylzfm 96.1.
So you were not born in China. So I guess you can't be a Chinese. How that sound? If you're not born in China, how can you be a Chinese? If you're not born in India, how can you be an Indian? On what basis can you call yourself Chinese if you're born in Jamaica? How dare you? You're never born in China. You don't talk the language. You never even been to the country. How come you are a Chinese? You see? And those who are Chinese will tell you that they're Chinese without a question, without a doubt. They will tell you that they don't talk the language. They will tell you I've never been to China. But they tell you that they are Chinese. Well, all right. Something they're holding on to. They may even call themselves Jamaican Chinese. But them now Lego China. Yeah. Now let it go, you know. Never been there. Them now let it go. And here we have the Africans now, who perhaps because of how we were brought here, under violence and subjugation and sodomization and all the worst things that can happen to a human, or a man, or a person, or a people, that reach us. And so we're still in a scramble to get away from that identity because we think that because we were black, why we were brought into slavery. And that comes again through the same Bible story. Same Moses writing a story about the world ending with Noah's flood and the children of Noah. One would become cursed, and in that curse, of course, once they curse, you know you get black. It's the same story they tell you about even before the world was created. That God and his angels had a war. And one angel licked against him. And when God couldn't deal with him and the war come, God kick him out of heaven. And guess what? Him get black too. And him turn into Satan. So the Bible has been convincing us quietly that black and evil and Satan are equivalent. And if you accept that as a child, well, you don't accept it. You are told that by your parents and the Bible and the church. And over generation upon generations, after a while it becomes normal to accept yourself as an inferior because you're cursed by the same one God whose words you're supposed to obey. So the escaping blackness has become a main task for black people, how to escape being black. One of the greatest performers in the world that America has produced, Michael Jackson, spent most of his time trying to escape being black. And a lot of people who are black are dying to be white. Dying to be white. And those who are not dying are killing off themselves through skin bleaching to become white. Angels are white. So it's a heavy, heavy psychology that we have to overcome. We have to overcome that psychology of trying to embrace things that are white. And look at the dictionary. Dictionary set the foundation. It's a dictionary now that is written by Europeans, and we embrace these words and meanings as reality. We don't define words for ourselves. We take it from the Europeans. So they tell us that white is perfect and pure and clean and healthy and righteous and just. All those things are white. When you want to talk about the total opposite of that, you find things that are black. So women want to be married in full white. You don't say all the weddings them, full white. Them feel like them nearer to God. Yeah, we call them in white. When we paint them house all full white, inside out, everywhere is white. And they feel as if in their mind that them clean. So the whole psychology is deep. And so we embrace things that are white subconsciously. We glorify things that are white subconsciously. And images like the Jesus that are white are glorified. So we feel it painful to damage white people now, you know. We find it painful to hurt white people because them too near to God. But we kill each other with the most brutal and barbaric way because we and the devil is closer to friends. It's a heavy, heavy psychology that we have to reverse. And the reversal of that psychology comes with each individual now taking a closer look at themselves. How is it that I moving so close to be unified with a race of people that have been our arch enemy for centuries? Why is it so many Negroes spending time trying to assimilate and integrate and to prove to white people that they are their equal? We are not their equal. We are not their equal. We are a superior people. We demonstrated in sports. We demonstrated in entertainment. We demonstrated in historical creations. We just need to be conscious that we don't have to be comparing ourselves with any other group of people. Just know our story. Know the supremacy of the African people. And embrace that supremacy, irrespective of what other groups want to say or do. As we say in Jamaica, we don't have to watch them face. We don't have to watch no face. We are looking to our own identity, and we're going to find ways to be proud about our blackness and be knowledgeable about our African history and heritage. Because we can't just live on culture, you know. Because they are culture vultures. But you see the heritage takes us into our genetics. And this is where our power really rests. Our genetic forces, where our ancestral memories reside. This is what we have, and that's what unites us, our ancestral memories. The unity that we search for is not into any ideological framework. We have to unite upon our physiological psychology. Yeah, our makeup, our blackness. And it's not about oppressing anybody else. It's about recognizing our own supremacy, our supremacy in family structure, when set properly, our supremacy in our way how we deal with the environment. It's all about recognition and reconciliation and respect at a basic level for all that is African and embracing the knowledge of what is black. Metamorphosis. Sending a little feed forward on the WhatsApp. This person says, in regard to the wedding, people are celebrating as though we have arrived. Yeah, and why can't you see our own greatness and set our own values and our own price? We allow Europeans to set our values. And they set a low value on us. And we accept it and treat each other accordingly. Europeans are masters of psychology. And that's what they use to keep us down. Well, you say Iman Blak? Iman Blak is the master of psychology. Yeah, the Europeans think them good, you know. But you say Iman, I tell you, say we have it locked, especially our women. Our women are the greatest psychologists in the world, you know. But them under oppression. And sometimes they use the psychology in a wrong way. But our women are the greatest psychologists in the planet. They don't know. So the value systems, we accept it from the Europeans. They tell us what we value. So we're talking about self-esteem. Esteem means value. How much esteem do you put on yourself? So, you know, so the virgin, I don't know if it's a virgin, but the person said, when I see a move at this wedding, I have to wonder what's the trick behind this. It looks like they allow us to become complacent. Every time they wave a carrot. Yeah, the virgin, this person, there's no name, you know. I mean, you could tell us a name on your WhatsApp that I can make reference to the and directly. But the eye is right. Values is the Europeans have told us how to value ourselves. And as the person said, they're the greatest psychologist, but it's Iman Blak insists. So psychology must be our frontier for our liberation. Is that Iman deal with, you know? Psychology, the liberation of the psyche. And at a psychological level now, Iman speak about the unity. The unity at the psychological level for black people is not around European psychology. It has to be around black psychology. We have to develop a psychology that addresses blackness. And so I've been positing for the last couple of weeks and actively writing my first serious treatise on psychology. And it is called The Black Trinity, or The Black Tridentity. And I'm putting forward the notion that the black man, and that means the female, we have been crying for unity for 2,000 years. And no matter what we do and how we organize, we can't get it. And I think so we have to begin to ask for the unity now within each individual. And it's of each individual now looking to themselves and realize that they have a trinity within them. There are three parts. There is the me, there's the I, and there's the myself. And I'm putting forward now that if we can grapple with these three entities within ourselves and get them to be harmonized, we will find unity inside our own selves first. Psychic unity, where there is no clash anymore between the I and the me. And there is an understanding about the self. So them give all kind of confusion in psychology now. Them give us Sigmund Freud with ego and id, and superego, and animal behavior. The Europeans have been overpowering us in psychology. And every time our black psychologists surface, them shut them down. Dr. Amos Wilson, I recommend all ones and ones, go on YouTube and listen to Dr. Amos Wilson's lectures on the psychology of the African child. That African children are doing things months before the European can do it in terms of activity and youthfulness. What the African child does in 3 weeks, the European do it maybe in 6 months later. Walk first and talk first. We are superior in our development. But because of the psychology of the Europeans, our mothers think that the children are born when them come out of the belly, when the children have been existing for 8 to 9 months. 36 weeks of living, of listening, of thinking, of hearing. And the psychology that they tell us is that we must ignore those ages and try to deal with the child when they come out. When the child comes out, the child is almost 12 months old, very developed in the brain, with memories, genetic memories ready to be activated. And because the European never tell us that the child born at inception, we say the child don't born yet. So what is inside of your mothers? What is in you for months if it's not a living being who was already been born? Creation is the birth. Creation is birth. And so if we begin to rewrite our psychology and begin to treat our children now more consciously from before them come out. That means the father-mother relations are tight before the child come out. Because the child is listening. Child is picking up attitudes and fears and doubts. And psychology of the mother is reaching into the child. So if we don't correct the mother and the father, the child is doomed. We have to change our attitudes and let go some of them we call belief. You can't tell what you believe to the child just born. What kind of foolish is that? From the egg and the sperm lick up, you know. That is it. That is the beginning of inception. That's an individual now coming into being. You can't tell me say 9 months later, the individual just born. That is the height of ignorance and illiteracy. So we have shift out the belief system and we replace the beliefs with knowledge. And with the knowledge now, we can embrace the practicality of life. We can really have an influence now over our own destiny. And leave that whole idea about your destiny set up from before you're born. So therefore you come into the world, you can't direct your life energy. It's set already. Same words of God telling you how your life exists before you're born. Come on, people. Why do you think we have will and desire forces to chart our own course? Once you acknowledge that you have that power and you know you have it, you are become the master of your own destiny. You lack in that power, you fall into beliefs. And you believe that your life has been planned long before you're born. Anything reach you, that will reach you because that's the way it is. That's not the way it is. It is how we make it. That's how it is. Metamorphosis.
Time to tell the world, now tell the
Metamorphosis, moving into Alkebulan, Kemet, our story. And of course, we're focusing on Egypt. And you know, Ethiopia is a more ancient society and culture than Egypt, you know. Yeah, Ethiopia. And they don't really want us to even go into Ethiopia, you know, because you're going into some more thousands of years before the Christian era. And you begin to come out of Bible time, because Bible time limited to 6,000 years, you know. So now we are in 2018. So they might try to tell us, you know, the world started 4000 BC. And I have a whole, some ancient Rastaman, you know, whole heap of people, you know, devoted Christians, Adventists, no matter which denomination them in, them get caught with that Bible story, because that one story now, you know, the Hebrews are not just the architects of the thing, you know. It really is a foundation of the three major religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim. They all embrace the characters in that first book. And them all embrace Abraham as the foundation of them religion. So when we look at ancient Egypt now as a crossroads, because that's where the Europeans really enter to penetrate the culture of Africa, you know. It's through ancient Egypt, the Greeks and the Romans. They got their knowledge, and them, again, them went to Egypt not to get a belief system, but to get knowledge. Because knowledge is what runs the world. Beliefs don't run the world. Belief keep people in a drunken state, stupefied. Knowledge clears the vision, so you know where you do, and you know where you're going. You know, believe say you're going the corner, and when next thing you know, and around the corner you reach somewhere else. Now, the song talks about the Great Pyramids. And then the same Christian Bible telling us the pyramids were built by slaves. Now that is a conflict in African history, because slaves never built the pyramids. Pyramids were built by soldiers. The soldiers from the army of the Pharaoh. Decades, take them 10, 12 years to build the pyramids, even one pyramid. And there are more pyramids in the Sudan, you know, than in Egypt. But they don't recognize the Sudan. You know, within Bible story. You never hear nothing about Sudan in the Bible. You know, you know about the Congo in the Bible. So it's like all those places don't exist. So they have skillfully carved away Africa out of the psyche of the black people. So this Egyptian point of meeting now, because this is where them come and get knowledge, you know. It's the first place the Greeks come and have to bow down to the feet of the Egyptians. It's the first place the Romans come when they want to increase their knowledge and raid our libraries and burn things to the ground, because it's a seat of knowledge. The African holds a seat of knowledge. I don't know how come we get knocked off of that part to the extent we're not knowledge based anymore. We're all into these beliefs. And I see on my WhatsApp, Virgin D say, yeah, him too did believe, so the cow jump over the moon. I might never have an option as a youth. We couldn't think around that. We just accept that. And that dish did run away with a spoon. We accept that, you know. We believe that. We believe that two little people run up a hill and one come down and broke his crown. We believe them thing there, you know. We actually believe, say, Jack and the Beanstalk is real, you know. Yeah, me believe, say, it's really a bean, the man, somebody throw it and it grew up on the tree and the man go up in the sky. All them things in the man we believe, you know. And it has nothing to do with knowledge. It's fairy tales. So fairy tales now are also heavily written up into that same book called the Bible. Fairy tales and fables. And fables are separate from mythologies. So we have myths, we have fables, we have fairy tales. All of those in one book. One big text with several books. But we're focusing on one that is captivating. The one that is called the Genesis. That word suggests beginning, you know. And African people think now that this book is going to explain the beginning of African people. This is the biggest illusion. But it goes on now and it tells us that this character now, this hero called Moses, he's going to rise up now to free these slaves. And as I said before, these slaves couldn't build a pyramid because there's no way these slaves will lift up the tons of blocks and take them so high up in the sky and fit them so perfectly. That is technology. That is African technology at work. Levitation forces, all sort of high science to lift a block that is 10 tons heavy and lift it up 200 feet in the air and fit it in perfectly. It's high science and technology. And a belief system that. What we find that the writers of the Bible, especially about this particular book, try to diminish the power of black people and move the power into the hands of the Hebrews and the European writers. And it is done by ascribing to Moses power. A power that we should end up thinking and believing is more powerful than what Pharaoh had. So Pharaoh now represents Africa. Pharaoh represents the dynasty of Egypt. Pharaoh is royalty. It's Pharaoh we're supposed to, anybody want to bow down to, supposed to bow down to the Pharaoh. No, we're bowing down to Her Majesty, the Queen, no, and we are courtesy. We're doing all kinds of things in front of this old white man. Pharaoh is the foundation, the king, the god kings of Africa, of ancient Egypt. And so they set up a clash between the god king Pharaoh and this brethren now called Moses. And Moses now is supposed to represent the Israelis. And the Israelis are supposed to be the people of the God of the Bible. So the people of Egypt and Pharaoh are not the people of the God of the Bible. Because the people of Pharaoh's kingdom have their own gods and their own goddesses, have their own religion, have their own spirituality, have their own economics, have their own civilization. But we are reading now, and there's a story now. And the story doesn't connect to African history. It's Hebrew history. And we're told that Moses is going to challenge Pharaoh. And his challenge is being backed up now by the God of the Bible. So Moses is sent into Egypt. Well, first of all, he might escape Egypt as a murderer, because he was found to be the killer of an Egyptian. So he might take with himself. And it is this murderer now that's going to come forward now to rescue his people. Not I, the African people, his people, the Hebrews. And we read all kind of things in the story now. Between the clash between Moses and Pharaoh. And it is God now who is directing Moses, telling him to go and talk to Pharaoh. And go to Pharaoh and tell him to let the Israelites go. And God said, no, that he will be very stubborn. So he's going to use signs and miracles to frighten Pharaoh. You hear this now? So Aaron and Moses now is brother. And so them go check Pharaoh. And in front of Pharaoh, Aaron throw down his staff. And the staff become a snake. And them say Pharaoh never look surprised. And Pharaoh just snap him fingers and 3 men walk in. And Pharaoh whisper something in one of the man them ears. And the man throw him staff on the ground too. And them turn snake too. So all of this now, we have to recognize that this is not reality now, This is not reality. This is symbolic discussion, reasoning about a construction, about a struggle. And who is writing the story? Them says Moses. And so the serpent and them supposed to fight each other. And the serpent supposed to swallow up one another. And Pharaoh supposed to win that battle, and then Moses go back to God and say, boy, it never worked, and God listened to him. So, where is this God speaking to Moses? And who's documenting this conversation between God and Moses? Where do you think they come from? So we have to check them story carefully now, you know. God spoke and listened well, and Pharaoh's heart is hard. And he's not going to change his mind, so go check him tomorrow. And God and Moses and Aaron meet Pharaoh. Moses and Aaron meet Pharaoh the next morning. And Aaron will tell him, say, because he won't listen to God, God going to change all the water in Egypt into blood. You know, hey, we can't take them things literally, you know. These are not literal stories because there's nowhere in the history of Egypt where the water of Africa and the Nile River turn into blood. It's crazy. But it's the beginning of insanity. Because these stories now take you into the realms of insanity. And so, this God now that we are supposed to worship, Him going to turn all the water into blood. And then they make all the fish them dead. And the water starts to smell so bad everywhere you go. This is story now, you know. So after a whole week, them say Pharaoh wouldn't let the people go. And so what I think happened now? The Lord sent Moses and Aaron again and tell them, say, man, put plagues on the country. Look here. We have to separate fiction from reality. There is no records in the history of Egypt of any of these things taking place. These are Bible stories.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoothic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
I've been watching you.
Ladies, be teased and tantalized once again when Zilla's Nightclub presents Secret Pleasure Girls Night Out Part 2 on Tuesday, May 22. Come and see bad boys and male strippers on the pole for just $1,500 at the gate. Doors open at 8 p.m. sharp. Get your tickets at Zilla's Kitchen. It's Secret Pleasure Girls Night Out Part 2 on Tuesday, May 22.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Stylzfm be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Stylzfm for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by?
Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality.
You can win in the game of life.
Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Yeah, yeah. Africa is the land where I and I come from. Africa, our father's land, is calling us home. So long we have been a slave and no more will we roam. So I hope and I pray that the day will come when we see the rising sun. No more crying, nor victimizing, no more starvation, no more
Yeah, Africa is our continent. It's not a country, it's a continent. And it's bigger than just that landmass because Africa and Asia are connected. The entire Afro-Asia landmass. It's one landmass, the mass of black people of melanin. But we are so far removed from that continent that the effort now is being made to show the item why we are so disconnected from Africa. And it has a lot of it have to do with our understanding, our lack of knowledge of what ancient Egypt is really all about. It's really the doorway. It's a doorway through the religious book into our own selves again. Because once you return through the Red Sea, once you make that journey through the Red Sea into Africa, Egypt again, you will find yourself. You will find your original self. But to continue the whole story that they give us, Egypt now is under attack because the God of Moses now decided to launch an all-out attack on the African people to liberate these little mixed race people, what I'm calling Jews. So this God now decided to send plagues into Egypt. So these plagues now have to do with frogs coming out of the pipe, the fish them dying, after a whole week, struggle continues, and Pharaoh decides, say, well, all right, we now bow to your Lord God talk, And so Lord God said, well, all right, I'm going to put it upon him more. So Aaron stretched out his hands over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up. So Aaron have the power now. And frog come up and cover everything. The people in bed, them cooked stove, they even jumped on the people, according to the story. Pure frog. So this God now lay siege now upon Egypt. And so Aaron and Moses now is the two agents of this God that they have created. And the struggle goes on. And Pharaoh said, well, all right. They're going to let you go, But they said before letting you go, more things reach him, Because there were more plagues. Flies and the livestock started to die. And the Egyptians themselves were now covered with sores. And the crops them dying out and people start eating grass. All kind of things them start describe. This is in Egypt, And if you look into Egyptian history, this is not a part of Egyptian history. Egyptians don't know nothing about this. This is only what the Hebrews them writing. And what we, the black people in the Western world, have not accepted as a truth. So the plagues them now, them are gone. And them say now, the Israelites, the plagues didn't affect them. Because them say God set up something around them to protect them from the plagues. Real TV show. God kept them safe and put a pretend wall around them so none of the plagues could come to them. Hear this. Now, the last plague now that Lord God would send on Egypt, the 10th plague, was the worst of all. And what Lord God said, He said, this will be the last plague on Pharaoh and Egypt, and they will let you go. Around midnight, I will go through Egypt. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die. Hear this now, man. This is the Lord God now that I and I have been told is merciful, and we must worship and give all homage to now, This is the Lord God now who decide that after midnight, Him going to go through Egypt and kill every firstborn. Even the son of the Pharaoh. This is a meditation and the mentality of the God of Abraham, and the God of Moses. And so him tell the Israelites to stay safe. And the Israelites must kill them best sheep or goat and wipe the blood and spirit on the sides of the house so that him will know which one for going on. I saw this in the movies as a youth. Hollywood now control this movie. Now, Pharaoh decides to know something according to the story. Remember them people are gone. And so the story tells us now that while they were on their way, Pharaoh realized that the man robbed the bank. They robbed the treasury. And they realized that the man them gone with all them gold. Thief, you know. Them thief the gold. And decided to flee with it. So in that flee now, the Egyptian police them all everybody out now. Hunt is on now for the recovery of them treasury. And here now we are put into this drama now of Moses now trying to escape. And when he reach the Red Sea, and them say Red Sea in front of him and Pharaoh behind him. But God know, the Lord God know that him talk about. Tell him say he must put out him rod. And when he did that, something amazing happened. Now this goes now to the dimension of belief. The story itself is not a real history. It's a mythology of a people explaining their genesis, explaining their existence. And so Lord God tell him now, say, just stretch out your hand over the sea, and the water will move away. Yeah, and the water split into two. I saw this in the movies. Yeah, man. MGM. Hollywood blockbuster movie. I would say the ocean draw up together. I would say Moses and them people themselves run through. The thing about it now, you think say that's some rocks and thing at the bottom of the ocean. It's smooth like baby bottom. Yeah, man, it's like a smooth way and they must run through. But it don't done yet. And I sitting in the audience now, getting excited now, and begin to defend Moses. This is the psychology of it now. The listeners and the audience and the black people around the world watching the movie now and reading these texts, they no longer neutral. Them take a side. And them take the side of Moses and Lord God. So when Lord God and Moses now work them amazing thing and them run through, them never done Them take a Pharaoh now and them army coming after them. And we in the movies now cheer say, hurry up Moses, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You see when Moses got through, I would think it done. Him just turn around and look upon the ocean. And with all the power of Lord God in them, and they say, hold on, where now go? And he must stretch out him hand over the sea. And the water went back to normal and it swallowed up Pharaoh and the army. And we cheer in the movie house because Pharaoh dead. The death of that Pharaoh is the death of African culture. It's the death of your African self. It's the death of your black identity. That's where a lot of us died. And we have rejected the philosophy and the history and the culture of the dynasty of the pharaohs. But we have hung up the dynasty and the royalty and the crown of Queen Elizabeth. Our own royalty, our own dynasty. We cheer at the destruction of Pharaoh. And we celebrate Moses. And Moses now shall become the leader. Not just of the people in that story, but the people who have been reading the story and internalizing the story as a reality. So you ask the Christian today, the Negro Christian, he has Moses as in reverence. It is this man now we hear not only part in the Red Sea, but him going to go up into the mountain and talk to Lord God. Yeah. And these discussions now are written in a book. And there's nobody to verify or contradict what is written. Because if a man go up on a mountain and writes about what him see on the mountain. There's nobody to contradict it. So he buck up into a burning bush. And the bush start talk to him. These are fables. This is not African history. And so until we separate ourselves now from these fables, we will not find our identity. And our identity now has been wrapped up now in Moses and his escape from Egypt. And all of a sudden now all of us become children of Moses. Well, I see the child of the Pharaoh. I'm going to see the child of the Egyptians. I'm see the child of the gods and the goddesses of ancient Africa. I'm not a child of Moses. I don't belong to none of those tribes that claim that they are descendants of Moses. Abraham and all these characters now are irrelevant to African history. What we have to see now is Hebrew mythology, and black people now need to separate themselves and reclaim Africa, reclaim Egypt, reclaim the Pharaoh. We have Rastaman who call Egypt hell. We have Rastaman who thinks that Egypt is the enemy of black people. Such is the power of the scripture. But when all is said and done, long before Moses born, long before Abraham born, the Egyptians, the Africans, we had our philosophy, our psychology, our gods, our goddesses. We had our identity.
Shines like a beautiful stream. Hey, hey, it's here in this world and it's reigning supreme. Because of this something that keeps on glittering. Because of this something, so many people are fighting. Knowledge and wisdom will lead us to freedom. Hey, hey, let us seek first the heavenly kingdom. Because of this something that keeps on glittering. Because of this something, so many people are fighting. Because of this something that keeps on glittering. Because of this something, so many people are fighting. Sodom and Gomorrah, we don't wanna see. Mama world empire. See the world turn into a cemetery. Don't wanna see the world turn into a cemetery. Because of this something.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to look at this character called Moses, because we're talking about moral laws now, you know, and righteousness. The point to Moses, because Moses is supposed to be the man who have the direct link now to Lord God in the mountains. And Lord God in the mountain give him all these writings. We don't know which language it was written in, you know. I don't know which language Lord God speaks in. But him talk to him and him say him write things. And the movie show you writing in lightning. Lightning strikes the rock and movies. And that's the power of Hollywood. But what's very interesting that these laws of Moses are not laws that were written by him. These laws, as moral laws, existed long time in ancient Babylon. Lot of those laws came from the great King Hammurabi. Hammurabi. Check out Hammurabi. And Hammurabi laws and codes of behavior. This is where Moses pirated a lot of the laws. Can remember Moses, according to the story now, you know, was a resident in ancient Egypt, and Moses lived in the house of the Pharaoh. So Moses lived amongst black men, you know. Because he was a Hebrew mixed race. He lived amongst black people. And it's amongst the Africans that Moses learned philosophy and ideology. And it's while in ancient Egypt as a youth, studying he began to study the writings of Akhenaten, the great pharaoh who developed the concept of the one God, the sun God, the atom. So the concept of the one God, what they call monotheism, it developed in ancient Egypt long before Moses was even born, according to the timelines. So Moses never come up with any invention. Moses didn't develop no one God, The one God concept already existed. The difference is the one God of the Egyptians was a God of mercy. The one God according to the Egyptians was a God of love and life. That one God was symbolized by the SUN, the sustainer and the giver of life on earth. Not a belief system, This is knowledge. The sun is the source of life. The sun allows the plants to grow. The plants allow us to eat food and to get oxygen. So the Egyptians and the Africans, just like the Mayans, just like the Central Americans, the black people of those cultures recognize the power of the SUN. The Egyptians, through the psychology and the philosophy now of Akhenaten, decided to unite the gods of Egypt and bring them under one umbrella. It's a political move. It was a way to unite Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. They both had their own gods, and Akhenaten used his vision to realize that the two sides of Egypt could be united under the one God. So one God is a political construction, Yeah, one God. The difference is that in the African context, one God is a God of mercy, a God of justice. What we find that Moses did now in his one God creation, he created a God of war. Yeah, a jealous God. Because the environment that Moses had his people in was one of insecurity. If you lead people out of a situation on a promise, and after 10 years you can't fulfill the promise, and 20 years pass, and 30 years pass, and you can't fulfill the promise, you better come up with something. You better come up with something, and that something you have to deal with force. Because people will become rebellious when you can't match them promises. And so the Israelites became rebellious against Moses. Because he lead them out of prosperity into a desert. To walk around in a desert for 30, 40 years. But this promised land where the Lord God set for him. So him leave the continent of Africa. Him leave the home of the black man, where millions of black people have been residing, and carry a group of them out into a desert. The tragedy is that the black people who became slaves in the Western world have identified themselves with Moses as their leader. And they've identified themselves with the Israelites that were said to be slaves in ancient Egypt. So we have internalized the slaves of Egypt, and we have internalized Moses as a savior. It is so deep that Garvey's parents, under the same influence, named them child Moses. Moshe. So we're under the influence, deep, that it is Moses that is our salvation. Bob Marley did sing to send us another brother Moses so we can cross the Red Sea. All of us get trapped into that psychology, The redemption comes when we begin to return through the Red Sea to reclaim our identity. Red Sea also could be symbolic because the blood that runs through our body is a Red Sea. And that separation of those people were people who were separating themselves from Africa. So nothing is as literal as it may sound. We have to begin to read between the lines if we want to find our own redemption. So this hero called Moses is a deep influence in the life of black people, whether we want to know it or not. Because subconsciously, we have this man as a hero. We say that this man is a direct link to Lord God. And Lord God gave him commandments. And these commandments now we must abide by. So what I'm telling you, I know, these are the first laws now that we and I have been set down to follow. And look at the first law, the first commandment of Moses. It said, thou shalt have no other God but me. It is suggesting that the God knows that there are other gods. Because that concept of one God is coming from a society that had the concept of many gods. And the society of many gods were not just a masculine, male chauvinistic framework. There were females in the divinity. So we have come from a culture where females are part of the divinity as well as the males. But now we're being carried into a different bag of isms where it's all about man. It's the male run everything under the auspices of Moses. So when the first law of Moses was articulated, they say, Lord God say, don't have no more other God than me because I am a jealous God. The God of Egypt and Africa knew no jealousy, had no insecurity. But we find that we are now chained now to an insecure God who needs your prayers for security. Because if you don't pray to that God get vexed. Yeah, that God get angry. That God can get so violent that God can wipe out the earth. This is what Moses tells us. So Lord God get vexed now with his own creation and decide to destroy it, except saving of 8 people. So I put it out to the ones and ones now who into the story. Where is Africa? Where is African society? Where is African culture prior to this wipeout by this flood of Noah? Where are we as a black people? Because they're going to reclaim, not only reclaim, they're going to re-establish black people now coming out of Noah's family. And Noah is a myth. Because there is no real man named Noah. The experience of Noah's flood is an experience that was already recorded in the Babylonian history. My brethren, Clive Ossie always reminded I and I about Enkidu, Gilgamesh, and that flood story out of the Babylonian history, long before Moses even born. So we recommend that once and one read up on the flood, the Babylonian flood, and see if you see any similarities between the Babylonian Enkidu and the Christian Noah. These are stories that we have to re-examine, that we can find our true selves. So then wash away the world. Wipe out everybody, everything black wipe out, Africa wipe out, China sink, India sink, everybody drown out. And they're going to restart now a new creation with these 8 people. And we are forced now to accept characters like Ham and Shem and Japheth and Noah. And you go right on the line now, these become the foundation of all the genealogies. So all the Bible genealogies now coming out of Noah, which is a myth. So check it out. David, Solomon, all of them tie up. And they go all the way forward now to Noah. And Noah never really existed in real time. So make you check yourself and take yourself out of the illusion and come into reality. Metamorphosis.
Sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email akonautotech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Stylzfm be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Stylzfm for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Wow Factor Tuesdays is sponsored by Wholesale Photo Lab Studio and Docu Center and Bobby's Cafe Bar and Grill.
Gave I King James version. King James was a white man. You built a dangerous weapon to kill I own black man. You sold the land God gave I and taught I to be covetous. What other wicked deeds have you got in mind? Tell me, what are you gonna do to stop these daily crimes? Bring back Maccabee version that God gave to black man. Give back King James version. It belongs to the white man. Black man, get up, stand up on your foot and give black God the glory. Black man, get up, stand up on your foot and give black God the glory. Yeah. You suffer I and you rabbi. You starve I, then you kill I. But what are you gonna do now that the sword have turned against you? Black man, get up, stand up on your foot and give black God the glory. Black man, get up, stand up on your foot and give black God the glory. Bring back Maccabee version that God gave the black man. Give back King James version.
Yeah, King James was a queer. There are a lot of people who try to believe, well, they have to believe that a queer could be responsible for authorizing the word of God. You know, it's like you ask a man who is a thief to write a book about honesty. Very, very serious request that, you know. So we have a book, and the book is called the Holy Book. And a lot of people are so overwhelmed with the book that they have to keep it open in their house to any page because they think that the pages will attract great things and security. And a man would even tear a page in the Bible. You have some man in a prison who build all them spliff out a Bible page, you know. And not paper. It's paper. But we're so overwhelmed with it. We're afraid to throw the Bible upon the ground. We don't even want to drop a Bible. Because we think there's something holy about it. It's a book. The dictionary is a book. The Quran is a book. And all these books have writings, and the writings are writings of men. So this story about men who are inspired. What is an inspiration? Where does it come from? How can you know when somebody is inspired? What is the evidence that inspiration is not coming from an evil source? Was Hitler inspired? Was Cecil Rhodes inspired? is Donald Trump inspired? What is inspiration? We have to stop and ask ourselves these questions and stop behaving foolish. What is the evidence of an inspiration? I can sit by the ocean and become inspired. But no. Them tell you, say, is Lord God have to talk to you. And then we don't know who God talk to. Because tomorrow morning we go out in the street and a man tell us, well, he spoke to God last night. We laugh after him. Yeah, we laugh after him. But we are reading texts. And we are believing that what we are reading is things what the Lord God told men to say. A man have a dream. How do we know what the dream say? Who the man tell the dream to? That the man can write about a dream. We have to begin to get objective in assessing this book that we read called the Bible. Yeah, with too much emotion tie up in it, and we can't find our identity as black people. So, the leadership characteristics that we apply to Moses, we find say they are flawed. And the characteristics that we apply to Pharaoh, we must celebrate. Because Pharaoh represents I and I 100% more than what the Moses character represents. Then we hear that the books, these books that we read, Genesis and Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, all these books we hear were written by one man. One man. The same man who we think is a superhero. And he lays down the laws. And the laws are considered Old Testament laws. And 2,000 years ago now, the Europeans decided to make a change. And they're going to bring out a new book now called the New Testament. And this testament now is going to erase the laws of Moses, because they're going to be replaced now by the new lawgiver. And this new lawgiver has a strange birth, just appear out of mixture of ghost and woman. And then this lawgiver now comes to change the laws of Moses. Not only is the law of Moses changed, the Genesis story is no longer the beginning, because we now have a new beginning. This beginning now begins with the Word. The first beginning began with the 7 days of creation. This one now is that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was that, and the Word took flesh and manifest. So it's not Adam and Eve beginning anymore. We have to clear up our own meditation. Because even in this second lawgiver now, we don't hear about the Africans anymore. Where is Africa? Where is the continent of Africa? Where are the black people? So I just suggest that we search for ourselves, Yeah, man, search for ourselves. And part of the solution is taking ourselves out of that book and finding the literature that has been written by Africans for African people. We can read Chancellor Williams' book. We can read Dr. Ben Buchanan. We can read Dr. Henry Clark. We have so many of our own writers who have done the research to present us in a more positive and truthful way. So, I say to them, as the world turns, and we see a place like America now, where there's a war being fought in the high schools in America. Because almost every day of the year in America, shots are fired by students against each other. Now, you want to tell me about end of world? It's not the world ending. It is a dominant empire that is ending. And that's what has been frightening black people, thinking it's a biblical world ending. It's a ending that comes when societies reach a point wherein they are now retrograde and become decadent. The ancient Egyptian society and world culture went into decline, and it was overpowered by the Greeks and the Romans and the Persians that we don't even know much about our own history now. That empire fell. The Greeks fell. The Romans fell. The British are hanging on. And the Americans are in a tailspin. These are not signs of the end of the world. These are signs of the end of government systems. And while these fall, the Chinaman is on the rise. And the Indian is on the rise. And other nations are rising. And we're saying to the black people, when are we going to rise as a nation? It will not happen if we don't have the identity that makes us common. And that identity comes not from the fact of where we're born, but from what is born within us. And we don't have to be born in Africa to be Africans. Because Africa is born in black people wherever they are. We have to begin to know that. So you don't have to travel in the airplane to go to Africa. You travel on the plane inside of yourself. You journey inside of yourself through history and time. And go through the fog and the mist. Get through the Red Sea and reclaim Africa. Then you understand the power of being black and the power of being an African. And being able to claim that landmass whether you're on it or not. The Chinaman, who is setting up himself to be the next world power, has recognized Africa. The Congo is the heart of Africa, producing nearly all of the minerals that the Western world need to advance its computer age. It's in Africa. It's only the black people who are trying to escape, thinking that Africa is still this image of bang belly picnic and disease and war. But these images are created. Them say Ebola is in Africa again. Where do you think it is? In the Congo, DRC. That's where all of the minerals of the world are. The most important one, I think, is something called coltan. It's a part of every technological instrument in the world today. It's in the Congo. The Europeans need it. If they have to kill out the population to get it, they don't have any qualms about it. First it was rubber. Now it's other minerals. And so we constantly ask black people to think about this. Where is the God of the Bible to protect them from these invading forces? Where is the God of the Bible? And if you can't find the God of the Bible, we have to look for the God outside of the Bible then. And if we want to look for God outside the Bible, we have to look inside ourselves. That is the home of the divinity. The divine lives within. The source of life is within. So we don't have to be sending any prayers up into the sky. We send the meditation inside. So, no distractions. No matter what how many shots fire in America, and how many schools them shoot up. No matter whether the queen want to marry or the king want to marry to who, we have to keep our focus on our black identity and keep our focus on uniting around reclaiming our landmass. We have to reclaim Africa. The program into the final 15 minutes. I want to hail a sister who live in Port Morant. I hailed her last week. I'm hailing her again. She named Mona. But this time Mona has gone to the point where she bring a big bottle of something look like, but no liquor, you know. It's in a bottle called Jack Daniels. Them big size there, but get as well. You know what I'm doing this one? It's a juice coming from a nut. What the nut name? What the nut name? Cashew nut. Yeah, man. It's a big bottle of cashew nut oil. But when I don't drink this... Whoa, what I thanking the sister. And she said she had one for Sister P on Thursday. And yeah, I saw it for God. I them thing I want. So you see all the women out there who have them skills, eh? Just remember Iman Blak love these things. Yeah? So we thank Mona. She come from Port Morant. And I have your number. I shall certainly give you a link. And this might become a staple in my life. And you have all the people in St. Thomas, those who recognize the power of our black identity, those who realize the struggle of Bogle, those who realize the struggle of Nani, those who recognize the struggle of Taki and Marcus Garvey, was all about race. The whole focus was on getting the people here to respect and love and admire their own race. So the mixed race business now is an invasion. And the dominance of the genetics makeup makes the black dominant, no matter who mixed with way. We are black people. And the Africans who claim Africa have to realize, say, land is the basis of power. And as much as we are at a distance from the continent, we're in a position where we can claim the land where we actually live. So a place like Jamaica, we must begin to claim Jamaica because we are here. We are here in vast numbers. We are in the greater majority. So we can unite here around the identity of being black, being African, and move towards building our economics now. And once there's economic strength, then there's strength in the political directorate. And ultimately, that is where our power rests, in the political direction. So we are saying, hit up Tris on the WhatsApp, and we hitting up all the ones who are listening to the Metamorphosis in Port Antonio, in adjoining parishes, hitting up the Titchfield people, hitting up people in outer east, and we're going out all the way out into places like Long Road and Hector's River, hitting up Yaya and Amira, and the army right there. And of course, down into Buff Bay Ends, St. Mary, all the people at St. Mary. Yeah, heal up, heal up, heal up, heal up, heal up, heal up. Metamorphosis.
Youth and youth, don't be rude. It's time to eat some good food. For the poor and the wealthy. Need to be healthy. You know.
One step forward, two steps back.
I have a WhatsApp here. Somebody said them I try link I when them there a yard last week with the number on the site. Somebody is supposed to have the number, but I don't even know who said that. So why don't you just tell us who? And I have a number that was 53162 something. That number lost. Yeah, that number lost. So I have another one. But you can check me on Stylzfm. And whoever it is, 718-207-4929. Just tell me Zuno. You say you're there last week and you couldn't find me. Well, but there still. So just tell I who the eyes. Hit up all the ones them in Sunning Hill, Kivoy, same locked in, and D, regular soldier in the Lama Gideon, and Tris and our New York Army, listening and thinking, working on their own concepts of the I. And as I said today, the unity that we need is first of all within our own psychic makeup. We can grapple with the trinity that is within. The me, and you myself, and the I, because when the I talk and the me disobey, there's a conflict. And sometimes the self did know, and sometimes the I did know and never obey. There's a lot of conflict even within our individual self. Make sure we can put that house into order first. Can there be unity in the psyche of black people? Can you be united in yourself? Because without that self-unity, you can't combine with nobody else, you know. Because you're going to be an antagonistic source. Because you yourself are divided and separated. So unify yourself. Get the I and the me and the self in one piece. And recognize that out of that trinity, the leader is the I. Metamorphosis.
Thereof now gave man his love, and they rewarded with violence. In these last days, lend ears to what I say. Man in his ignorant state, signed and sealed his own fate. Doctrines of the falling angel.
No, with all the crisis in the earth, politically and otherwise, it's vital that we talk about a little bit about economics, because that is really the engine that moves things. And I'm really peeved that in a place like Jamaica, Rastaman could have been so walked, that we have lost the focus at how to generate money. Now for generations and for decades, Rastaman has been at the forefront of the brutality of the police forces and the society in its fight against ganja. Because ganja was supposed to be the door to the devil, you know. Not the rum. Yeah. Them not taste a rum will make you and the devil talk. Them say it was ganja. And the brutality of the state and the repression that Rastafari feel and the destruction of families and the whole prison system and the lack of self-respect and self-esteem is it worthy of international investigation, United Nations investigation and reparations. But I want to speak to how the state has captured ganja. They've captured the ganja because the whole attitude of the state was that they could never free up ganja to any extent unless they found a way to control the economics of ganja, the money side. The same thing happened when liquor was on the scene in the 30s, where you had so much bootlegging, and the government was a struggle with the liquor until they find a way to tax it. And so liquor became normal, as deadly as it is, as a drug. It became normalized because money now could be made from it by the government. And it's the same thing here with Jamaica and the ganja. They would never liberate ganja to an extent until they found a way to corner the market. And they have cornered the market in a very deceptive way. And I'm calling it now the development of medical marijuana. Well, you say, I'm no in that at all. There no medical marijuana investigation or research or support, and I put in 1 ounce of energy behind that. Because guess what happened now? And I always had marijuana and ganja as a medicine. That was always the knowledge. That ganja was a medicine. And the same forces of Rome, where some man called Babylon, fight against that. Now them stop fight against it because them find a way or them can get the money out of it. And them promote this medicinal thing. And the tragedy of it is now that Rasta man get caught celebrating. It's like same way we get caught celebrating this wedding of this, half this with this, half that over there and going on as some upgrading. So Rastaman end up celebrating now that ganja has been decriminalized. That you can have your 5 plants and smoke your spliff reasonably liberated. But guess what happened now? We now get no money. And the medical aspect of marijuana, it's beneficial because of its medical uses. Yeah, but who's going to own medical industry? It's those who have the money already. And it's going to leave the Rastaman and the farmer to do the same thing as the day of slavery. Simple cutting into the farm field. Just being farmers, cutting the crop. We're not cutting cane anymore. We're not cutting the banana now. We ain't cut ganja. But the ownership will not be in the hands of the poor, nor of the blacks, nor of the Rastafarians. And here is where we must make the switch. Because Rastaman are celebrating now, you know, because of the amount of brutality we will feel against the police. But it's a false victory. It's a smoke screen. Because the real earning from ganja comes not from medical ganja, but from hemp. From industrial hemp. And I don't hear no Rastaman. I don't hear no aspect of the government pushing industrial hemp the way they might pretend to market this medicinal ganja. Industrial hemp is the future. Industrial hemp makes paper, makes oil, makes ink. It makes 2,500 products from which I and I now can become owners of industry. Why we can't have a small group of people setting up a small factory to produce hemp paper? Why we can't have 3 or 4 people putting their money together and make a small factory to make hemp cloth that could be turned into school uniforms, which is an industry unto itself. So me no run down no medical ganja, no business, you know, no illusion about medical ganja. Fire burn that. We may deal with an aspect of the industry where I can hold money, where you can go out and plant a crop of hemp, and in 3 months, the crop is ready. 3 crops a year. Why are we not promoting that for the liberation of the people here? That we can own things. But you know what? Black people mustn't own industry. We must just buy. We must just be consumers. So we will end up just being consumers of the medical ganja, but we're not going to own any of the laboratories. But we can own a hemp factory. 4 or 5 people can put their resources together and have a pilot project to run a hemp factory. Oil, paper, ink, cement blocks, hemp blocks. It is absolutely embarrassing. And the thing about hemp is that it has no psychotic properties. There's nothing illegal about hemp. There's nothing toxic about hemp. I keep saying for years, if you want to get a little buzz from hemp, you have to build a split big like a light pole. It has no psychoactive properties in it. What it has in it is a potential for money. And it's money black people need. We don't want a medicine because it takes money to buy the medicine. We want money. We want to join the manufacturing class. That should not be just there for brown-skinned Syrians and white people. Manufacturing is what black people need to get into, and we can manufacture from hemp. Hemp doesn't require pesticides. Hemp grow naturally as it kills pests. In other words, now we're sitting on diamonds. We're sitting on a gold mine. And it's not a mine that we should smoke. The smoke is what is causing the problem. Because when I walk up and down now, it's spliff like him free. And talk about, yeah man, spliff legalized. We don't want to legalize spliff. We want to legalize the industry that is hemp. And bring money in our pocket. Take youths out of garrisons and ghettos and put them to work on a 3-month farm. They will see the results. But the government is not interested in that. And Rastafarians have been blinded by the smoke. And the real money that we need is still sitting in the fields. It's sitting in the fields because we have not been socialized and educated by this media to look towards hemp. I mean, I say hemp revolution is the way forward. So we have to combine the hemp revolution with the individual revolution, where we liberate our I, recognize our identity, and have money. We need a hemp revolution. Yes, a hemp revolution to break the poverty in Jamaica. Free up the lands that have banana and sugar cane and let hemp be planted. Yes, banana irrelevant now, sugar cane out. The lands are there. We don't want no medical ganja. We don't want that. We don't need that. We don't see the medicine of ganja long time and using it. We want now some money out of it. And the money comes from the industrialization of hemp. We need a hemp revolution. We want Portland set the foundation. We want a pilot project in a Portland, 1/4 acre of hemp. 3 months time, we begin to use the seeds to make oil or shea butter. Or we use the stalks to make cloth. I'm all into the hemp cloth. Because when we cut the other cloth, them vex. Make it just hemp cloth it out. Yeah, hemp cloth. What the hemp cloth do? So where the hemp cloth are going? Yeah man, we want hemp. Want hemp. Can you imagine if we set up a school uniform industry based on our hemp? We don't even have to import no more of them cloth there. We have our own cloth. Hemp is the way forward. The politicians will not tell you. Yeah, man, they will not tell you because the begging going to stop. And you going to see capital coming. Because the end result takes 3 months. 3 months for a crop of hemp. And you get 3 minimum out of a year. And we sit down here bawling about poverty. And bawling about can't find a job. It's there. It requires vision, a sense of identity, sense of purpose. Recognize our anciency. We are here for thousands and thousands of years. All of those memories are in our DNA, in our ancestral memories. And we can call upon those memories to give us vision. And the vision is that we must liberate the hemp industry. Not just for Jamaica, for all African and Caribbean and Pacific states, where the weather is what we have. We can grow hemp. Transform the world. Transform our condition of living. Uplift our status. Hemp is the way forward. I tell you them. I'm going to say a long time I want a hemp tune. Yeah man, I want a man send me a hemp tune, you know. It's a rinse pan styles until you can't rinse no more. I see all the hemp album. We have to liberate the hemp. White man will not do it. Because them sister that we're free we from him. Make we free ourselves economically through industry and agriculture. Agro-industry, hemp is the way forward. Metamorphosis. You mean we can't even make toilet paper for ourselves? Not even toilet paper we can make. We can't even make Rizzler paper. We can't make nothing out of. We are just consumers. Spending. When are we going to generate money? The way is through manufacturing. So we connect agriculture with industry. Let the Indians and the Syrians know, say, no, them alone is manufacturing class. I are manufacturers too. Let's encourage our children to think about manufacturing. I love the first hemp factory set up in Portland, you know. Yeah, man, the first hemp factory should have gone to Portland. Yeah, man, set the tone for the Eastern Confederation. St. Thomas, what happened? They can't grow hemp. Eh? Look about land there, St. Thomas. Grow some hemp, no man. Half a acre. Pilot project. And see how the parish lift up. So people will start coming out St. Thomas, left, right, and center to buy hemp goods. Yeah, man. I have to do it. That's the way it is as we go forward.
They're working when the sun is burning. Oh, the rain is falling. Then comes another man stealing.